It would seem as though.
Hey.
Hey. Sup?
Sup? Chuh, bruh.
What's up, man?
Yeah, right.
It's early here in this moment in our fabulous studio.
Yes. Fabulous studio.
Fabulous studio. Ooh, boy. State of the art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a state-of-the-art kitchen table.
Yeah. And I'm drinking out of my state of the art Diet Coke can.
You're killing it.
I know. Well,
Bougie as fuck.
welcome to another episode of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
I'm Vesta.
Oh, I'm Annika.
Are you sure? You seemed a little
Girl,
uncertain of that.
I feel like am I awake? Like, I feel like I should be back in bed.
Well, it is early.
It is early.
As we're recording this right now, it's only 8:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for probably most people, that's about the time they'd be getting up. I've been up since 5.
Yeah.
So it's like middle of the day practically for me, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, usually I often wake up way earlier than this, right?
Well, right, because you usually work before the sun's even thought of cracking.
Yes. And so my body usually is, I'll wake up, but I stayed up too late, spent too much time not sleeping. So here she is, beautiful and rested.
Yeah. Speaking of beautiful and rested, you don't usually go out in public like this. Are you going to put on a mug before we go to the store?
Yes, girl. I still have to go over and feed my dog. So I woke up and made coffee and a bagel. And I said, ready.
Ready. Ready. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, girl. Sleep-a-ca.
Well, this week, Sunday, the Oscars happened.
Mm-hmm.
And
was there any slap heard around the world this time?
There was no slap heard around the world, although there were some pretty amazing things that happened that shouldn't be amazing.
I know.
You know, it's like Michelle Yeoh won for Best Actress for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Which was amazing. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I still haven't seen it, but I think I am now going to watch it because I was like, I watched the previews and I was like, oh, that does not feel like my kind of movie.
It's great, though.
But I love Michelle Yeoh, and I would watch her in anything.
Agreed. Uh-huh.
She's amazing. And she's the first Asian actress to win Best Actress.
Best Actress. Has she won an Oscar before?
No.
Wow, okay.
No, and she's, not a young lady.
No, and Michelle Yeoh, the first time I ever saw her was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yes.
And she's in Crazy Rich Asians. She's
also on Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. She's in Star Trek as well, Discovery. She's Captain Georgiou. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's in a million things, and she's always amazing.
Uh-huh.
She always feels like wherever she's in is just like, oh, yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, she's
because you know how some actors, you see them in things, and you're like, oh, look, you're still playing you.
Yep.
And you're not very interesting.
Right.
Everything she's in, she really just embodies that character, and she feels very natural to me. But I love her. But in the 95 years of Oscars, first Asian actress to win lead actress.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is crazy. And in total, 6 actors have won. So
Oscars?
she won. I'm not sure. Ki Hai Kwan won for also same movie, but won for supporting actor.
Mm-hmm. And he also, you know him from Indiana Jones. You know him from The Goonies. What else has he been in? Because
I know he's been in several things, but he hadn't done a lot for quite a while.
Well,
and then he started, because he did that odd, dance of going from child actor to adult actor, which is usually awkward and sometimes not successful.
He was also in a movie with Brendan Fraser, which we'll tie in a second, because Brendan Fraser also won. But there's a picture of them in a movie together, and then they're hugging each other at the Academy Awards, and it's very cute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I don't know what movie it was.
I didn't watch the Oscars this year. I usually do, but I hadn't seen literally any of the movies this year.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them I was like, no, and I don't want to see The Whale.
Right.
And that, of course, Brendan Fraser won for The Whale, which is the story of this man who leaves his wife because he comes to terms with the fact that he's gay. And then he's in a long-term relationship with a man. Man dies. He gains a ton of weight out of depression and whatever, and then reconnects with his daughter because he's afraid he's going to die because he's now like 600 pounds or something. Right. But it's like, one, I don't want to see actor in fat suit.
No thanks.
But it's just the storyline. I was like, no, that's no. I was very excited that Jamie Lee Curtis won.
Agreed. Has she ever won?
No, she's never even been nominated.
That's insane to me.
So Jamie Lee Curtis also won for Everything Everywhere All at Once as supporting actress. She played the nemesis of Michelle Yeoh. What I thought was cute, I was watching an interview with her, and she said that her agent called her and said, I have this part that I think that you might want to play. It's a movie with Michelle Yeoh, and she goes, I'll do it.
I'll take it.
And that was, and the guy was like, no, you need to read the script. And she said, well, didn't you just say Michelle Yeoh was in it? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Don't you want to know who you're playing? And she's like, okay. Will you be her nemesis? I'm in.
Yeah.
What more, you know?
Are you trying to sell me further?
Where it's like, I've already told you I'm in. And he was concerned that, of course, because she hadn't read the script, didn't even know anything about it, that maybe she'd get into it and be mad because, you know, blame him or something. Who knows?
Right.
But it was like, and here we are with an Oscar. And her speech, oh my God, her speech was so sweet because she got up, she cried, you know.
Of course.
But Jamie Lee Curtis, if you think about it, her first major motion picture was this little low-budget, never-gonna-go-anywhere horror film that has become legend, Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, she had done other things, but that was her first...
Right. Well,
I just learned
me too.
that her first thing, her first big acting gig, was a TV show called Operation Petticoat.
Yep.
And...
because her daddy.
Well, right, because...
Nepo baby.
Right. Her father was in the movie... many, many, many years before, and then they turned it into a series. And then she did the series for a season, then was fired.
Yeah.
And she was all, oh, my life's over. And then she said, had she not been fired, she wouldn't have had the opportunity to do Halloween. And when they offered her Halloween, everyone was like, ugh, this is just some little low budget, you know, whatever. And, well, we see how that turned out.
Well, and Laurie Strode, who is the character, was like the original Scream Queen. Was like the final girl. Like, and like I guess I didn't realize until I was an adult that like Jamie Lee Curtis really was the OG Scream Queen.
Yeah.
I love that. She's
well, and I've seen her, of course, in a million things. And always great. True Lies. Brilliant movie. Laugh till I'm dying because it's so good. Fish Called Wanda.
I love her so much. Yes.
I mean, she's in a lot of things, and she's always great.
Listen, one of my favorite... I was just talking about this with my boyfriend, that the movie that she was in with Lindsay Lohan, Freaky Friday.
Oh, right.
I adore that movie because to watch...
I'm the Crypt Keeper!
To watch Jamie Lee Curtis act like a teenage girl is everything I could ever want. Yes. I fucking love her.
It is a good movie. What was the one she did? It was her and Sigourney Weaver... And they both have teenage daughters, and as teenage girls, they hated each other. And I can't remember the name of it, but it was very cute and funny.
Okay, yeah.
But it was cute and funny. It wasn't great. It was cute and funny. But Jamie Lee's all... So, this was her first Oscar nomination. And so she was, like, mostly thanking Michelle Yeoh. Because she's like, the reason I'm even in the Oscar nominated is Michelle Yeoh. And so... But, you know, Google... Just... YouTube her speech. It's great. I cried. She cried. Everybody gave her a standing ovation. And so some people were mad that Angela Bassett didn't win, and I get that. Yeah. Angela Bassett, genius, wonderful, love her.
Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Well, and she's... You need to watch it because her performance is unbelievable.
Okay, but she's Angela Bassett.
Right, and so that's...
When isn't her performance off the rails? She's so good.
It is interesting to me, though, a Marvel movie... You mean like a superhero movie being nominated? Does that happen often?
For acting? Yeah. No. It's usually, if they get nominated for anything, as a rule, it's like special effects or maybe theme song or, you know, but not usually acting.
Yeah.
Because I can't even think the last time someone was nominated for, but, you know, I'd have to really put on my thinking cap. And my head is way too big.
Who wants to do that?
And I'd mess up my hair. I did just do my hair.
Oh my God. I set my hair.
Oh my God. I want to talk about my hair for a minute, and then we'll get back to the Oscars.
Sidebar.
It's funny to me. So, my whole life, I have had, as you know, the straightest stick straight hair. Yeah. And then one morning, randomly, my hair I woke up, my hair was curly. what it was is I had grown my hair out for the pandemic, like so many people. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh God, I'm going to cut this shit off. I'm tired of it. I hate it. Mm-hmm. And I hacked my own hair off. And then I went to see my coworker, Debbie. And I was like, now can you fix the mess I just made of my hair?
Yeah.
But I did it intentionally so that I would force myself to go get my hair cut.
Yeah.
Because I kept going, I'm going to get my hair cut. I'm going to get my hair.
Yeah,
and then one day I was all, well, bitch, if you take some chunks out of your hair, you're going to have to go get it cut. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And then the next morning when I washed it, I'm like, why are there curls in my hair?
Yeah.
Because, again, my whole life, my hair has been 6 straight. And now my hair is like just random curls and whatever. And so I know you're not old enough to know this, but people who are in my generation will get this. I feel like I'm living my 1980s Nina Blackwood hair fantasy. Yeah. She was one of the original VJs on MTV. Okay. And her hair always looked like she just woke up.
Okay.
She had this wild blonde hair that was just wild. It just looked unstructured. She put some stuff in it and said, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
It was never like they're all one shape. It was just like, girl, what?
I woke up, I'm a VJ.
Girl, what? I'm a rock star. Yeah. Or I play the rock stars on
How
TV.
Funny, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So, back to the Oscars. And the directors, there was 2 of them, of Everything Everywhere All at Once, also won for Best Director. Now, in all of the years, but looking this stuff up yesterday, I learned some stuff that blew my mind. Okay, so the first Asian actress to win was Miyoshi Yumiki for Sayonara, 1957. Wow. Won for Best Supporting Actress. Okay. Ben Kingsley, so 1983 was the next one.
Jesus.
Ben Kingsley for Gandhi.
Okay.
Hang S. Noir in 1984 for The Killing Fields, also supporting. And Ben Kingsley, obviously a lead, he played Gandhi. And Yu Zhang-yong for Minan, which I don't know what that is. I've not seen it. Yeah. But, the big one that kind of got this all started, the Asians starting to win some, was Parasite in 2019. Because it was the very first foreign film to win Best Picture.
It was amazing.
That movie, you fucked me up.
Okay, I can't believe you watched it.
I did. I went to see it with Alicia. We went to see that movie, and I was all, okay, well, I don't really know anything about this movie. Yeah. And that's probably why I went. Because she was like, we need to go see this movie. It's sweeping all the awards. It's blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. That movie, I'm going to say, if you didn't like that movie, I'm not really surprised. Because it's one of those movies that it was very... it was one of those movies that had so many different camps of people who you either loved it or you hated it. Yeah. And if you loved it because it was well written, not because you liked any of the characters.
No, but it was so good. I think it was so good.
But it was so disturbing.
But that's why.
Yes.
Art is supposed to make
but
you
on
feel.
So many levels.
Right.
And that's funny because I was talking with my other friend Alicia about what she really likes in movies are movies that make her actually feel something. Mm-hmm. And not just like laugh or this cute or whatever, but movies that actually challenge the way she thinks.
Yeah.
And that movie.
Well, it's like what goes back to like one of my favorite quotes where it's like beauty without depth is just decoration. So like
I like that.
Right. So like I think that film is just done really well. I think the acting is brilliant. I just think that it's great and it does make me feel like uncomfortable and sad and like angry. It made me feel all the things.
But... It does. It made me feel everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I was super uncomfortable through a lot of it.
Yeah, most of it.
But the scene where the family, where their house flooded, their apartment flooded,
yeah,
and the toilet is just exploding, and it's like, oh,
I want to die.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how? No, you get out.
Get out.
Get out.
Yeah.
And of course, that is a certainly white privilege kind of way of thinking.
Run.
Because obviously, they don't have an option.
Right.
But it was just like, but that family was awful. Yes. And the rich family was awful.
Yeah, wow.
And everybody was awful.
Yep.
But it was like, but everybody was so complex. Mm-hmm. So I realize this movie is now 4 years old. Yeah, but go see it or rent it or do whatever you have to rent it. Nobody rents movies now. I don't know what year it is.
You can
rent or buy on TV.
Yeah. Yes. But a lot of his films.
But go to Blockbuster in Bend. Yeah, the only one left.
But I don't remember what the actor or the director's name is. But his films, especially in Korea, are very popular and have a huge following in the American audience. But I don't think I've watched other films of his. But I
don't believe I have either.
After watching Parasite, I was all like, sign me up, I'm ready. I'll watch whatever scary shit you have coming down the pike, bitch. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that I was prepared for it to actually be frightening.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for it to be psychologically just messing with my head
and
the whole
unsettling,
time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that was one of those movies that lived up to its hype.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah. So something I was wanted to talk about that just came up this morning. It's silly, and I realized that Groundhog's Day was last month, but for some reason it came up this morning, and I think my son asked, "Did the groundhog see his shadow? Are we supposed to have more winter? What's happening?" And so I looked that up, and the groundhog that everybody is Punxsutawney Phil,
right?
And the tradition of Groundhog's Day is stupid.
Oh, great!
Because it is. This groundhog pops up out of his hole. If he sees his shadow, there's 6 more weeks of winter. Now, I just want to go from there. If he sees his shadow, that means the sun is out. Because if it's overcast and cold, you're not seeing a shadow.
Right.
So wouldn't that be the opposite, one would think? And the things that people Google, is there more than one Punxsutawney Phil? Punxsutawney Phil has been a thing since 1896. So this over 100-year-old groundhog, yes, he's still creeping up out of his hole.
He's doing great.
Doing his thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I looked at the website. By the way, he lives in a place, and I feel like this should be like rated R to even say it. He lives in a place called Gobbler's Knob. When I said that, my son said, "Where you gobble knobs?" I was like, "No, don't say that." He goes, "Well, what? It's like doorknob." No, don't. Just stop there.
You know, it is like doorknob.
It is, yeah, kind of. Not at all. So I was like, "Oh God, please." Anyway, but he lives in a climate-controlled kind of zoo situation.
Okay,
and they bring him out, whatever, every year.
Like you do.
But the reason he's lived to be well over 100 is because every year at the Groundhog's Picnic in the summer, he's fed the elixir of life, which gives him another 7 years of life. Now, we found out also that his wife, Groundhog Phyllis, or Punxsutawney Phyllis, or whatever she's called, Phyllis, with a Y, Phyllis, she doesn't get the elixir of life, so she doesn't get to live actually. So how many wives has this groundhog had? And why does she not get it? Because she doesn't have a purpose, like telling the weather.
She's a woman.
Mm-hmm. It's always the women who get the short end of the stick.
Tell me about
it. If the average lifespan for a groundhog is 3 years, and Phyllis is only going to be around for 3 years, how many wives has Phil had?
And he's over 100?
He's well over 100 since it's been going on since 1896.
Girl.
I know. I can't even do that math because it hurts my head.
I can't do that math either.
Now, maybe he had some single years, but I have a feeling they always replaced Phyllis every time she dies with a new...
Well, and hold on. Did he want a new wife?
Or were they Did anybody ask them? They just throw in some new chick with
here's a lady. What if he doesn't even like her? What if he doesn't like women? What if he doesn't like girls? You know what I mean?
I didn't even think of that scandal.
Yeah. Sad for him.
What if the king of Gobbler's Knob is a knob gobbler?
You're awful.
I am awful. Thank you.
You're rotten from the core.
Yeah. What's your point?
No, that's it.
That's it? You didn't have a point?
No. That was all. That's all. That's all I have.
Okay, well, if you didn't have a point...
Show's over. Bye.
Oh, wow. That was a super short show today.
I know.
So, the other day, as you remember, I sent you a list of questions. So, for... Some of you probably have seen a show. It's called Inside the Actor's Studio. And it was hosted by James Lipton. The whole thing really felt kind of pretentious to me. I don't care, though, because I like watching things about movies and acting and whatever. And many of them, the whole idea was the actors were talking to a group of students who were in acting school or theater school.
Yeah.
So they were acting, directing, all of the things you do. And they would learn from these people who had made it in the business, kind of, what their process was or whatever. But at the end of every single episode, James Lipton would ask these 10 questions. And they originally came from a French series called Bouillon de Culture, hosted by Bernard Pivot, or Pivot. I don't know how you spell Pivot, but it's probably Pivot.
Pivot.
Bernard Pivot. But I thought it would be fun if you and I did the little 10 questions.
Yeah.
So the question number 1 is, what is your favorite word?
We talked about this a little bit. And I've been, racking my brain because now I'm like, well, maybe this is my favorite word. And I don't think it is. But I think the one that has been my favorite word for a very long time is the word persnickety. And I remember in, 3rd grade thinking that was the best word. Second to, ditto. But yeah, I love that word persnickety. And I think I like the sharpness of it. Okay.
So it's not just the word, it's the sound of the word.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for me. Much like when I'm eating food, if the texture is wrong, I don't want it. It's like saying words. There are words to me that don't sound, I don't know, that don't make me, it just has it does.
Right, you don't like the sound of them as they come out your mouth. I get that.
Yeah, but persnickety, I think it has everything you want. Per and then a hard S and then snickety, I'm into it.
I also think it's one of those words that when you find out what it means, you're not at all surprised because it seems like that's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's good. And it sums up exactly what you are trying to express with another person. Yeah. Right? That bitch is being persnickety.
Why are you so persnickety?
Exactly. I love it.
For me, it's kind of a tie. And one of them I have a story with, the other one I don't. The first one is bamboozled. And I actually got that from my friend, Pebbles Campbell Starr. Okay. When we worked together 100 years ago, somebody would try something, and she'd go, "Oh, girl, you trying to bamboozle me?"
I love that.
Because I will not be bamboozled.
That's so funny.
Street smarts, that girl is not going to be bamboozled. And I love that. And so I've said it ever since. And I used to say when my kids were little, I was like, I just know that one day some teacher's going to call me from school saying, your child said that I bamboozled them? To which my response would be, well, did ya? How's my child? Because, you're going to have to get up early in the morning to bamboozle my children. The other one is chicanery.
Oh, that's a good word.
It's a good word. I love it. And it's just the meaning of it is so good.
Yeah.
And it's and I've said it in real life without trying to just be I'm going to use this word for fun. It's what kind of chicanery and nonsense is this?
Yeah, I love that.
It's just a good word.
It is a good word.
What is your least favorite word?
What is my least favorite word?
I'm going to tell you while you're racking your brain that mine, and it's not so much the word, but it's how it's thrown about and how it's used, and I hate it, is tolerance. Because the idea that I want someone to tolerate me just makes me angry. I don't want you to tolerate. If you don't like me, that's fine. Yeah. I would prefer you didn't like me. Yeah. But I'd prefer you knew who I was before you didn't like me. If you don't like me, cool beans. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
But don't tolerate me. That feels so pandering.
Exactly. And when I was younger, feeling well, this is, tolerance is key, and this is everyone should be tolerant. Everyone should just be respectful. Yeah. Right? That's what it should. I don't need to be tolerated, but what you should do is respect me. Full stop. I don't feel tolerated is, again, like you said, pandering. It feels like it's just throwing a bone to a marginalized person.
Absolutely.
And tolerating it.
I'm tolerating you in your existence. Fuck you.
There's a word that I've grown to hate a lot, and it has nothing to do with the sound, but more of what it means to people. And the word is resilience. I can't stand it.
Interesting.
I think it's a great word, and I understand the point of it, but a lot of people who are marginalized people or oppressed peoples in general, if you survive literally anything, if you do make it past a shitty household or bullies, or being black in a small town, or being the only queer person in your small town, or everyone always being shitty to you, you're often just called resilient. And that's also, like, a lot of, like, indigenous peoples feel the same way about being called resilient, because they survived genocide, they survived assimilation, they survived all of these things to lose their culture, and their culture still exists. So being called resilient, like, you shouldn't... And I've been called resilient since I was a child. And the thing is, I shouldn't have had to be resilient.
I think that's it, is that you shouldn't have to be.
Well,
and the idea that, good, you were resilient against all these things that white people threw at you, and now the white people are calling you resilient. Well, you put up with all the shit we did to you. Good job.
Yeah, and I understand that's not how it's always meant to be. I've used the term resilient and resilience in papers in school, and I use it all the time. But yeah, I just think for me, when people say things about me and for being resilient, it just rubs me the wrong way at this point. I just feel like, this is like all learned behavior. It's all mandatory for survival. You know what I mean? And that's not, just because you survive something doesn't obviously mean you should have had to. And so to be like, oh, well, but you did it. Like, yeah, fuckface, I know that I fucking did it.
The first time I really kind of had strong feelings about that whole notion is when somebody was talking about a child being, growing up being very strong, and someone else commenting, but they shouldn't have had to be.
Yeah.
They should have been able to be a child.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
One of the other things that is, I think now kind of one of those words is ally. Because I remember on one, when the whole Black Lives Matter thing had just really gotten a hold and was in the news all the time. And I posted this thing about, how being a better ally and whatever. And one of my friends, who is a person of color, said, instead of ally, I'd rather that you were an accomplice. And then she went on to explain, it's like, an ally just sounds like you're standing back there going, yeah, I agree with you. But an accomplice means you're getting in there, getting your hands dirty, doing the stuff, and also being a part of the movement. Yeah. Which I think is way more important than saying, I understand your movement, I approve of your movement. You don't need my approval. And you don't need me sitting at home going, good job. No, you need me to be telling the white people who say fucked up things, don't say that. That is fucked up. And here's why it's fucked up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No, I get that.
So be an accomplice. Get your hands dirty.
Most all those buzzwords. It's all the buzzwords like tolerant, ally, and people don't actually... right.
Blah.
Which, I think the concepts are fine. I just think the way in which they're used is not so fine.
Right. Agreed. Okay, next one. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
We touched on this yesterday, but like creatively for me, it's like for me, my creativity, my artistic endeavor is, again, like the written word. We've talked about that. And so writing is that for me. And because of how my brain works, it just there are days when I want to write and there's nothing. You know what I mean? I can't do it. And for me, specifically with like creativity, I just have to feel it. I have to feel motivated. I have to feel like I want to do it.
It can't feel forced.
Right. I have to have like some sort of inspiration. And here, I mean, being in school, there are times when I don't want to have to write the paper, And once I start like outlining it or researching it and then start typing it, then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, oh, here we go. Now I'm like in this flow, I can write it and I'm better. But I'm not that person who's like, oh, I'm going to inspire myself right now to go do this writing.
And I wonder, really, if that's ever really a thing that you just go, okay, I'm going to sit. And I know, like, my friend Maria is a writer, a published author, and under the name of Virginia Black.
In case we haven't talked about it before.
I might have mentioned it.
Once or twice.
Maybe. Consecrated Ground. It's out there. You can buy it on Amazon. Anyway, you can buy it from the publisher. But I know that she tries to carve out time every day to write.
Yeah.
I feel like if someone said, okay, sit down now from 9 to 11 and write, I would be doodling pictures of my eyebrows. I mean, honestly, and I will have a book full of just stupid doodles that don't mean anything, because what the fuck am I going to write? I have to feel something. I have to have something kind of stir me to that. And I know that my best inspiration usually comes at night. Like, I'll be getting ready for bed and I'll be like, oh, I should write that down so I don't forget it. And I don't write it down and I forget it. And just whether it be poetry or whether it be a story I want to write or whether it's a song I'm feeling or something, if I don't write it down, that is gone. If I write it down and look at it again the next morning, then I'm like, oh, right, that's where I was going with that. Okay, and I can do that.
Girl, just type it in your phone.
Oh, I know.
You have notes in your phone, girl.
What?
I have lists and lists and lists of lists in my phone, so...
Lists of lists. Check your list for this list.
Yeah.
Where'd you put that list? It's on list A to the location of list B.
Right, exactly that.
Yeah, nice. But something that turns me on spiritually and emotionally is music. I went to a show a couple weeks ago. Went to the Gospel and Soul Food show. Now, I do not like white Christian music. I don't ever want to hear it for any reason. Gospel music, on the other hand, I could listen to all the time.
All day.
Because it just stirs the soul. And, you know, it's just... I don't know. It's just so powerful.
Agreed.
And it makes me feel. Again,
Agreed.
like a good movie, it makes me feel. It makes me usually cry.
Yeah.
But it makes me, just my spirit swells and I'm like, that turns me on emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah.
And any kind of good music, it doesn't have to be gospel. Like, when I hear the swelling of the music,
Girl.
or when I, certain things, I cry. And it's just, I feel so moved by that.
Yes.
And I love that.
That's the only thing we're very similar in.
Oh, I know. We're so different.
Yeah. So music for me as well, and it obviously, if like, it doesn't have to be just music, but like if the lyrics of a song resonate with me, that makes me emotional. Well, to be fair, everything makes me emotional.
What?
But yeah, music swelling. Also, good poetry, spoken word. I could die sometimes. But for me, a lot of the time, and we talked about this yesterday again, is that for spiritually, and it is connected to emotional because I will cry every time, is that when I go to places that have a lot of like history or are old or things that happen, so like going to Alcatraz or going to the Queen Mary or old cemeteries or whatever the case may be, not because like, oh, these places are haunted. It's not even that. It's just like all the life that has been lived, all the energy that's been put in there. And it is overwhelming. I went to Alcatraz and cried, and everyone's like, well, it's really dark and it's really upsetting. And I said, no, but it wasn't that. I mean, I didn't feel like sad in that kind of capacity, right? Just like overwhelmed with big emotion. And that's the story of my life. But there are just, you know, there's a lot of times I think for like being validated in something that I love as a person that I am also makes me feel like turned on emotionally and spiritually, I would say. You know, like that makes me feel like, oh, look at me, I'm going to go conquer the world now because I've been validated, right? So I think those things make me get my engine going.
For me, another thing really that does is just beauty in any form. Like seeing just like an amazing painting. But it has to be like really spectacular. Yeah. Or just any kind of piece of art. Or any kind, you know, whatever. If it is something that just, you know, I'm looking at it like, wow. That to me is very emotionally stirring, and I love that.
Random acts of kindness, like not for me. I'm not going to go do them because I don't want to. But when I see it happen, or like there are exactly as you're wearing a shirt that says "Be kind," you know, there is like social media people or influencers who that's their thing, where they go out and they just do random acts of kindness, and literally it destroys me. And I took a screenshot of this man is sitting on a bench just looking out at water, listening to music, and this girl walks by, smiles at him, and hands him a note. And all the note says is, "Dear stranger, there's a future version of you who's proud that you were strong enough." And that's all it says. And she walks away. Literally, and I'm like...
right, you're just saying that, I started a little choked up.
Exactly. And so, though, that kind of...
Because that's the sap that I am.
Right, but that's just, I think seeing the actual connectedness and humanity behind it, because you know that I'm not a huge fan of humans in general. No. So, but when I see that, I'm all about it. When I see...
people are the worst.
Most of the time.
Yeah. All right. So what turns you off?
Literally everything else. What turns me off? Let's see. Things that are not authentic. We've talked about this, and I've talked about it a million times. Because, like I said before, I don't care if it's your Halloween costume or your spiritual practice or you're making friends or you're talking to me. If you don't seem like you're genuine, and if you feel like you're being forced or it's fake, or I don't want it. And a lot of that, specifically for spirituality, is something that makes me crazy. Because, like, I'm a very spiritual person, but when I see, all the TikTok, like, witch talkers and all these people talk about, like, well, this is how you should do this, and here's this, and this is the only way to practice this, and whatever it is, I find it annoying. Or, like, when Sephora was selling, like, their beginner witch kit, which had, like, a crystal in it, and white sage, which is, don't use white sage unless you're indigenous, but, like, that's bullshit. Like, that stuff is just bullshit to me, and it's commercialized, stupid.
I think anything like that's commercialized, when you commercialize something that's very important to a group of people, I think you have now ruined that. And for me, I know one of the things that really turns me off is any group or any person who feels like what their beliefs are more valid than yours.
Yes.
It's like your belief system, whatever it is your belief system.
Yep.
And just because this organized religion or whatever says this is how you should feel or this is how you should be, no, I'm sorry. Of all the hundreds of gods out there or the deities that are worshipped or that are part of a spiritual community, how do you even come to believe that yours is the only valid one?
It's so arrogant.
It is so arrogant. It's like we talked yesterday about, the idea that we're the only living things in this whole universe. That we're, the Earth is the only one that sustains any kind of life, and we're the only intelligent life.
Yeah.
We're not really that fucking intelligent. If you think about how we're destroying our own atmosphere and we're destroying our own, planet.
Yeah.
And that someday the planet will, destroy us and be like, bitches, you have been ruining me I'm going to kill you all and start over. And she'll be right to do so.
I think as a child that used to freak me out, like the end of the world and everything. But now it just is like the Earth has gone through enough. Like, go away.
Haven't we done enough to it? Right. Okay. Yeah. Next one. What is your favorite curse word?
Ooh, girl. So mine is a tie. Because it's the two words that I use all day, every day, in every part of conversation.
Sure.
Which is bitch and fuck. I use both of those words all the fucking
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, really bitch.
Really bitch. Mm-hmm.
What's funny to me is I also use those words a lot.
Yeah.
And bitch is one of those words that I use as a term of endearment. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll be like, hey, bitch, what you doing, girl? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, bitch, please.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Well, but that's like, bitch can be like punctuation.
Yeah.
Bitch can be like million. Yes. Bitch.
Really, bitch? Mm-hmm. Come on. But my favorite one is
Trigger
warning. Trigger warning. I'm going to say the big one. The one that makes people crazy and makes people, like, freak out. Cunt. I love that word.
Such a good word. Yeah.
I love that word. I don't use it nearly as much because it is one of those special words that I use when I really feel it's necessary, and I rarely ever use it as a like to shade someone or whatever. I use it as a term of endearment, or I will say, "You're being a little cunty today," or whatever. But I love that. I like the way it sounds. I like the way it feels in my mouth. Yep. I love that word.
Yep. Here's one thing. One thing about me is I love when people are so offended by words, right? When people get so offended by curse words. And often it's like an older generation. And especially if that person, this happened when I was younger a lot, growing up in small town USA. People like, don't say those words. Ooh, bitch, I'm just going to say them more now. Watch me. And watching the like horrified look on people's faces when you say some of these words, it brings me like endless joy. Because I'm like, yeah, be upset, bitch. Be pressed about it, you dumb cunt. Because people don't expect that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, respect your elder bullshit, and I'm all, go fuck yourself.
The other thing that's funny to me is the song I make... Wait, was it the My Chemical Romance song? I chimed in with... Isn't that
that's No, that's...
I have the wrong group.
Panic at the Disco.
Panic at the Disco. Mm-hmm. But the line is, haven't you ever heard of closing a goddamn door?
Mm-hmm.
on the radio, they bleep out God because goddamn is so offensive. I'm like, really?
No.
Damn is fine, but goddamn, no.
How dare you?
Oh my God. My head's going to pop off because you said, really? There's only, and I told my children when they asked me about cursing, I said, there is only one word you may never say under any circumstance, and that is the N-word. And I say, because that is a word of oppression. It's not a curse word. It's a hate word.
Yeah.
You know? And then, so there's a difference. Can black people say it? Of course they can. But you're not. You're white. You should never, for any reason, say that word.
Never.
So, whatever. Yeah. All right. What sound or noise do you love?
I feel like there's a few. Because yesterday when I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't know. But I mean, the sound of waves, rain, thunderstorms, all of those sounds I adore, right? Bring me immense joy. Also turn me on spiritually. But oh my God, what was it? There's I'm going to use the example I gave you yesterday. But there's random things that I'll hear and I'm like, that was wonderful. And so a glass with ice in it and you put liquid in it and how the ice clinks on the glass, specifically with liquid in the cup with it.
Yes.
Hits that part of my brain that is just like, oh, okay, God's
the other
real.
part of that, because I know you talked specifically about that being that little opener at the theater where they're trying to tell you to go get Coke. The sound the bubbles make.
Yes.
I like that sound too.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're babies and toddlers laughing. That's not as much for me anymore. But it is still very sweet, and I do really like that sound. But again, I told you, once children can fake things, and once children are liars and don't have a personality, that's when I think
you're over it.
Yeah,
when the laughter is genuine,
yes, I'm about it. But when the laughter is children, when it's toddlers and babies, yeah, I'll take it.
Toddlers and tiaras.
Yeah.
For me, that's, because one of them, for me, my favorite sound for many, many years always was applause. But specifically for me. Like when I would perform on stage, if it was a really rousing applause, that always just felt so good. And the first time I got a standing ovation, I thought I was going to die. But the other thing is, like, if I go to the theater, and at the end of the theater, when often, because Portland, I think they give almost everybody a standing ovation. But when the audience is all standing up and cheering wildly for her, it always makes me cry.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just that huge swell of emotion. And I'm in a crowd where there's so much emotion because everyone has just had this shared experience of this whatever. And the last thing we went to see was Dita Von Teese.
Yeah.
And the whole show was spectacular. And it was one of those things that at the end of the show, when the audience just was screaming and cheering and stomping and whatever... And she also encouraged the people, like, make all the noise you want.
Yeah.
Make all the noise you want during the show.
Yep.
Because that feeds the performers on stage. I 100% agree.
Yeah. I mean,
as long as you're not being disrespectful and, whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for me, also, then when I became a parent, the sound of my babies laughing, oh, my God, it was just... magical.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
Because I hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
But I get what you're saying about when they become older and it becomes forced.
Yeah.
Or it becomes like, oh, I'm supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that. That's... What sound or noise do you hate?
Most people's voices. No,
humans interacting.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you that there are a lot of accents in the United States specifically, like the Midwest accent, that literally is nails on a chalkboard to me. Because I've been to the Midwest so many times. And I do, I will do like a mock of like a Canadian Midwest accent all the time. But it's literally unnatural. People shouldn't sound that way. And I know, hate on me all you fucking want, okay? I sound like a Valley girl 9 times out of 10. I don't give a fuck.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. But like, yeah, that is rough to me. And this stems from, I forgot what I told you yesterday is a huge problem for me. Yeah, hearing sex sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Grosses me out to the point I want to like just rip my fucking flesh off. I hate it. It makes me
but when you told me that yesterday, that made total sense.
Yeah, well,
considering your history.
Yeah.
Of abuse and whatever, but also living in a household where the adults that you lived with thought that was okay to even have other adults in the house all, fucking and making noises and while the children are right there. It's like, come on.
Honestly.
No, that's not okay.
It makes me, feel, when you...
I wish on my little sound machine I had a boo.
Boo, you whore. But it makes me feel like the hair on the back of my neck stands up. I get, goosebumps, and not in the way that ooh, this was so much fun. But I fucking hate it. It makes me, gouge my ears out. It's horrible to me. But
so for me, this is going to sound really stupid because it's really general.
I'm into it.
When I'm in my house and everything is off, like right now, there should be no sounds that I don't recognize. When any sound comes up that I am going, what is that? What's happening? Because I'm always is something happening that shouldn't be happening? Yeah. Is there water running that shouldn't be on? Right. Is there whatever it is? Yeah. Is there a rat chewing through the wall? I don't know. Probably it's just random, unidentified noises. Ugh, what's that? Yep. And then once I identified, I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, I started the washing machine. That's what that noise is. Or whatever. But that's one thing. But for me, it's anybody who talks with that kind of nasally tone to their voice. It's like, shut up. I worked with a woman once who just had this really high-pitched nasal voice, and whenever she spoke, I just wanted to jab things in my ears. Yeah. Oh my God, stop it.
Shut up.
And also, I'm kind of, one of the things that, I was saying how much I love music. A high operatic soprano, I don't ever want to hear. It's too much.
Here's what I do want to hear it if you're gonna do a run really high, or if it's the lower high, low high. I want to hear your range, girl. I do love it, but I don't want to hear you sing only in high. No, no, that's too much, Bob.
No, sorry. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh my God, I don't even know. This was a struggle. What did I say yesterday?
You said I don't want to work at all.
Yeah, who dreams of that?
I do not dream of labor.
And what is my profession right now, girl? I'm a supervisor at Starbucks and a student. So what? It could be anything else, literally.
Literally anything else. I know for me, the profession other than my own that I've always wanted to do, and this is what I told you yesterday. I've always wanted to do this as a little secret ambition of mine. It's not as secret because I've now told a couple people, and it's not like I was keeping it secret. I just never mentioned it because I thought people might think it was silly or whatever. But I've always wanted to be a conductor. To conduct an orchestra or a choir. Yeah. Because I don't know, I feel one, it's kind of a power move, but you're controlling music. And you get to be there feeling every single part of that music. And, it's that just feels like that would be fun and exciting. I mean, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't want to do it for a full-time career. No. But I would love to try it. And I would, Yeah,
I don't think I have an answer, to be honest. Because I don't want to do anything ever again. But I mean, there are things that I think that I would want to do. I mean, I guess if I could just be an influencer and then get paid from brands to just buy this thing. Bitch, I would do that all day. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But I don't really want to do that either. Do you know what I mean? But if I had to do...
Okay, so what I hear you saying is what you want to be is a lottery winner who just gets to sit at home and do whatever the fuck you want and not have to ever do anything you don't want to do.
I would be darling as a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Y'all...
I don't know that that's a career.
I don't think
trust fund baby. Either. I mean, it worked out well for Paris Hilton, but then she made her own money, and now she's just rich on her own. So that's awesome.
One thing that I've always really wanted to do is if I could have, if we could just, buy property and have, an animal rescue, bitch, that would be me.
That would be good.
That would be me.
I mean, I don't like property or animals. I'm just kidding. As long as I never have to go outside, I'm fine. Yeah. You take care of the animals outside. I will watch you. I'll be from the window. Clap. Yeah.
You're doing great,
You're doing so good. I'm glad that you fed the ostrich.
Yeah. Oh my God, how cute.
Oh, it pecked your head. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. Big animals scare me, though.
Agreed. But I would still do it.
And if you go on TikTok, go to Useless Farms. That woman fucking kills me with her emus. Yeah. Her one is called Karen. Karen, the mean, vicious
She's
emu.
Mean.
She's a bitch.
She's scary.
Which is, I'm guessing, why she's named Karen. Yeah. And then she has that one llama that's smooth-brained, who's so stupid. He just stands there and stares. Anyway, all right. What profession would you not like to do? And this one is easy for me because I've been saying this my whole life. I could not work in food service. One, I don't really like people.
Yeah.
Two, I'm clumsy. I know that I would not remember whose order was whose. I would spill it on the way to you. I'd probably dump it in your lap or on the floor, and I would be fired the first day because I would have broken all the dishes and lost everybody's food. But the other thing really is, as you're bitching at me because your food's not the right temperature or there's not enough salt, fuck off. Because if you started bitching, I mean, if you said, hey, could I get a little more, and you were polite, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And which is how I've taught my children to be in restaurants, is you ask the waitress, may I please have? Not ever, get me a soda or a bubbly. No. You say, may I please have? And I know I've heard people say to their children, you don't have to say please and thank you to a waitress or a waiter because it's their job.
No, you absolutely
bullshit. And you also tip them well because it's a hard fucking job that I couldn't do. So that's my answer.
Yeah. Well, what profession would I not like to do? All of them. But predominantly, I don't want to be in sales where you have to actually sell a thing. No. And that's how you make money, like, based on commission. I fucking hate that. I don't want to do anything that's, like, trade, like, in the fact that, you know, like, construction or electrician or plumber. None of that. Granted, I don't think some of it would be super challenging, like, learning electricity.
Sure.
Learning to be an electrician or a plumber, obviously, it's like you learn things, and so like it doesn't look like just a bunch of wires or a bunch of pipes that you're on. What the fuck this is? But I still don't want to do it. I don't ever want to work on like cars. None of that. No manual labor. No sales. No people. No working for money.
Phone sex.
Phones. That's it. I want a job where people just praise me.
Oh. When I was getting ready to leave my old salon, before I bought my new salon, where I've been for 17 years now, my friend James, hi James, said to me, I have the perfect idea of a job for you. And I was like, okay. It's got the word job in it, so it's probably not perfect because that's work. But he said you should buy a kiosk at the mall, or rent a kiosk, I guess.
I'm already out.
With where you sell no products, all you sell is your advice.
Ooh.
And all you call it is ask me. You can ask me anything, and I will tell you the truth. Does this outfit look good on me? No, it doesn't. No, should I keep this boyfriend? No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, right.
You know, is this the right hair color for me? No. You know, whatever it is. Yeah. You know, it's like, come to me, ask me my advice, and I will tell you the truth. I think I'd be good at that.
Agreed. I think you would. I want to change one of my answers.
Okay.
I think ideally I should just be a dominatrix in this life.
Oh, yeah.
To get paid to be mean to people? Are you fucking kidding me?
You would rock at that.
I am mean for free now. I could.
Yeah. So imagine if money was coming into the picture.
I would be evil.
I've always said that if I could have a job at Disneyland, I would want to be a villain. And specifically, I'd want to be Ursula.
Yeah.
I would want to be rolling around in the park because you'd have to put me on one of those rolling things that's electronic.
Yeah.
Because she has tentacles.
Yeah.
You would trip over your tentacles.
I get that.
But the villains in Disneyland get to be as mean as they want to be all the fucking time.
I'm about it.
And I love that because when you run into the villains at Disneyland, they're mean.
Yeah.
And they say shit to you that's funny. And it's like when I ran it, and I love this one, and I know we've talked about it before, but the last time I was there and I ran into the evil queen from Snow White, and I always show, whenever I see her, I always show her my tattoo because it does take up half my arm. And she was so funny because she's looking at it, she's like, I only have one question. Why does it say wicked? Do you not realize I'm the hero of that movie?
Yeah.
And I was all, and she goes, Snow White is the villain. It's just you've only ever heard it from her point of view. Huh. Okay.
Yep. Speaking of, I just watched Maleficent 2. And I was all about it because, you know, I've seen the first one, but I love that. I love hearing the villain side of the story because it makes them less of a villain.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
All right, and the last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? And my answer is so easy. My answer is this. I'm sorry. If God exists, then what the fuck's he doing all this time, letting all this horrible shit happen? Why is there so much pain and suffering and death and awful, awful things. Yeah. You know, like children getting cancer, or people getting AIDS, or people, you know, sex trafficking, and all of this awful shit that the Christians are, well, you know, God's free will, it's got what? Fuck off. Because if you're going to tell me this omniscient being knows what you're doing and is in control, and, you know, sees everything in there, no. Yeah. If you are that all-knowing, all-powerful, fucking do something about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I want to hear you say, I'm sorry. Yeah. I fucked up.
This is really hard. I don't know, because after you told me that's what you would want to hear him say, I'm like, fuck. Well, I don't know, because I was going to make, you know, initially I was like, if I showed up to the pearly gates, God would be all, who the fuck let her in, you know?
What are you doing here?
You made it? You made it. But yeah, yours is the...
Annika.
Uh-huh. But wait a minute. I'll be the only person at the pearly gates, so no Christians. I'll be like, I was more Christian than all your fucking Christians, boy. But I don't know. It would probably be something like that. I think it'd be silly. But also I'd be all, fight me. Let's fight now, you bitch. You dumb bitch. I'll become God now.
There's a woman that I follow on TikTok who does, like, she plays out the heaven-hell scenes, and she plays all the parts. She's God.
Yeah.
She's the secretary. She's, you know, whoever. She's Satan. And it's always funny because it's the assholes who are sent to hell. Yep. You know, the right-wingers, the people who are blowing up abortion clinics, the whatever. And it's like, what am I doing here? There's been a mistake. No, there hasn't. You made other people's lives miserable.
No carrying your shit back.
I think that you missed the point of the assignment. You were supposed to make people's lives better. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to love people. You're supposed to be accepting of all people. You're supposed to, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did you do? You shut down drag shows and, you know.
Yelled at little black children and burned down abortion clinics. Yeah, you did really great things.
So, good job being an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Now burn it.
And now you get to spend eternity in this place that I don't even believe exists. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if it does, I don't... See, my good friend Dolly Parton once said...
God save Dolly.
God save Dolly, because she's awesome. I'm not good enough to be a good Christian, but I'm not bad enough to be a bad sinner. Because, like, I have lived, I think, a good life. Mm-hmm. I have not done terrible things. I have not done amazing things either, but I've done good things. Yeah. But I'm also a good person. Yeah. I am kind. I do the right thing. Yeah. You know. But am I out there, like, proselytizing? No.
But, like, is that really what you need to do, though? That's another issue I have with when people make religion their whole personality. I hate when people make anything their whole personality. You know, when people just...
Absolutely.
Someone discovers the gym and now all they can do is go to the gym and get all buff and shit. Like, good for you. I'm glad that you found the gym. And that's
HR buff and stuff.
Exactly. I'm glad you found this and you love it, but, like, there's more than just that, right? And so when people make their religion their whole thing, I mean, again, I'm into all of it, but, like, when you have to make every aspect of your life your religion is silly and stupid to me. Do you need to go and proselytize to everyone? Do you need to go travel to other countries? Do you need to go on missions and do all this bullshit? No. Do you even need to go into a fucking building with a bunch of other people and worship? No. I don't think you need to do any of that. I think if you believe in God, it's about how you believe in God. It's not about how you show up to church or how you tithe or what you bring to the bake sale. You know what I mean? I don't think it's any of that shit.
Oh, no, it's absolutely what you bring to the bake sale. If you bring good stuff, then I'm all about it. If you bring some weird shit, no.
But do you think God cares what you're bringing to the bake
sale? I do.
You're dumb.
I think God said, if you bring potato salad and it has raisins in it, straight to hell.
I want you to know, if you make potato salad and there's ever raisins in it, whether you take it to the bake sale or not, you should go straight to hell. You should just be beheaded. Let them eat cake. Yeah. Beheaded. You know, I'm toodaloo motherfucker. Like, I can't.
White people. I'm sorry, but your mayonnaise and raisins, although I do like mayonnaise,
girl,
I have to say.
Listen, that is, like, the whitest thing about me is that my favorite condiment is mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Mayonnaise and butter.
Delicious. Yeah, but...
Not together, as a rule.
We said that yesterday when we were talking about artichokes, and then I was all, well...
Maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. I love it.
One little brief thing, and then we gotta go. Is this week is St. Patrick's Day, and the only reason I mention that is because turns out I'm Irish. Mm-hmm. My great grandmother immigrated here from Ireland, so I have a direct connection. And hold on, please. Okay, the reason I paused for a second there was that my daughter was calling Annika, and I'm assuming it had to be some kind of an emergency because she's calling from school, and she called to say what?
And I said, "Why are you calling me?" And she said, "I don't know, because I love you." And I said, "I love you too. Don't call me again. Go to school.
Go to school. Go learn some stuff." So anyway, it's St. Patrick's Day this week. And stupid people, drink green beer and do whatever. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I've always found it kind of funny that St. Patrick is famous for driving the snakes out of Ireland. And most white people, or most American people, take that literally. Yeah. Because there are no snakes in Ireland. There's no snakes indigenous to Ireland. Mm-hmm. That's because it's an island. Stupid. But the snakes were the
pagans.
The pagans. So, boo!
I know. That's, honestly, there are lots of holidays that I'm not a big fan of, but this is one of the number one holidays, because I'm like, I don't give a fuck about St. Patrick. I don't care that everyone thinks he's so great for driving out pagans. I think he's a bad fucking person. Fuck this holiday.
Okay. Well, and on that note, we're going to be out of here.
I have to go to Costco.
We have to go to Costco. Oh, God.
Costco.
So, on that note, if you want to comment and send us an email at itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com.
You should.
Like, share, subscribe, download podcasting app.
Yeah.
Do all those things.
And just tell us ask us questions, or...
We would love that. I would love to do a whole episode of questions that people ask us.
Yeah. Or just give us a topic. I like the idea of someone being like, monsters or whatever, and then we just have to talk about monsters for that full hour. Because, girl, I feel like they could give us any topic, and we could fill an hour.
Well, we just filled almost an hour doing 10 questions.
10 questions.
So
we're good at talking.
Yeah, we are good at talking. What we're not good at is shutting up. So we're gonna go now. Bye.
Okay, bye.
It would seem as though